Hi guys, Michael Abaimi here, and today I'll be doing a review and a recap of the third episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Needless to say, I'll be touching upon spoilers for the episode, so make sure you've seen it before you watch this video if you don't want to get spoiled. And with that out of the way, let's get on with the episode. So the episode actually started with a scene with Captain America, aka John Walker, who was also on the trail of the flag smashers, but we could actually see that he was at a point of desperation since he was coming up cold, and from everything we could see, it was obvious that he was now willing to walk outside the box, outside the lines of authority, same way that Sam and Bucky were currently doing. So it's going to be interesting to see how the two separate teams eventually come to a head over the course of the show. So going over to Sam and Bucky themselves, at the end of the last episode, if you can remember, Bucky had stated that they would need to go to Zemo for help, and in this episode we actually got to watch that play out. So Bucky pays Zemo a visit in prison. He was being held in a maximum security prison in Munich, and everything was pretty much like anticipated in the last episode. Zemo agreeing to help them only on the condition that they break him out of prison. So Bucky goes back to Sam to tell him about this elaborate plan he came up with to get Zemo out of prison, but everything was more or less past tense as he had already broken Zemo out of prison and Zemo was actually right there with them. So Sam, being Sam, was actually reluctant to work with Zemo, but because he was more or less the only lead they had to go by, they had to put aside their differences and just work together for this one goal that they're trying to chase after. So, and as it turns out, Zemo was actually a actual Baron. We could actually see that he had not only the leads that they were looking for, but even the resources to even get to those leads. He had his own private jets, he had his own butler, and they went on this trip together to this place called Madripoor. The Madripoor, from what they described, was kind of like this paradise for criminals and lowlifes where they don't have any laws and they are free from extradition, and the city functioned more or less the same way the Hotel Continental functioned in John Wick. And throughout the episode, there were actually a lot of comparisons to John Wick that I could see. There was so many similarities, and eventually I found out that it was actually the same writer that actually wrote the John Wick films, actually wrote this particular episode, which you could just tell from the DNA of the entire episode, which was something I actually liked. I actually liked that angle that we hadn't seen before. So more or less, Zemo was taking them to a woman called Shelby, who had all the information they needed about the people responsible for making the super soldier serum. So, and they had to go to this CD bar where, in order for them to get in, they had to play personas, false criminal personas. But this was relatively easy for Zemo and Bucky since they already had that criminal persona to go with. Zemo just went in as himself and Bucky had to rechannel his Winter Soldier persona. So Sam, on the other hand, had to go in as the African prince called the White Tiger. So there was a lot of hilarity involved with him trying to play that role, trying to see how everybody reacts to his lines and everything. So that was actually quite funny. There was even a particular scene that made me laugh where he had to drink a cocktail that was made out of snake guts and everything. So that entire scene was quite comical. So, but right there in the bar, they actually ended up calling some attention to themselves, Zemo being the wanted criminal that he is and everything. So Bucky was forced to channel his Winter Soldier persona, and there was a fighting that broke out. So eventually this would give them an audience with the Shelby woman, and the woman tells them about a man named Dr. Nego, who was actually responsible for synthesizing the super soldier serum. But in order for her to help them, obviously criminals being criminals, they had to have some kind of exchange. So Zemo even promises to give Bucky out as the Winter Soldier, but during the meeting, Sam receives a phone call from his sister, and Shelby makes him answer the phone on speaker so that everybody could hear what they were saying. So at this point, they actually got dangerously close to getting their cover blown. But just as Shelby was about to discover that Sam wasn't who he was claiming to be, they are saved by a mysterious sniper who ends up killing Shelby, and the three of them were able to escape. So, but the act of killing Shelby actually ended up putting a bounty on their heads, and similar to how it was at the end of John Wick Chapter 2, we had all these bounty hunters suddenly hunting down the three of them at once. So I was actually wondering that however were they going to get out of that situation. But once again, they are saved by the mysterious sniper, who turns out to be Sharon Carter from Captain America: The Winter Soldier. If you can remember, Sharon Carter was the daughter of Agent Peggy. So all that aside, she had been living in Madripoor since the events of Captain America Civil War, and it was actually a bit heartbreaking to find out that not everybody got their name cleared after everything that happened in that movie. So the same way that Bucky had gotten his name cleared after the whole Avengers Infinity War and Endgame saga, Like, we still had all these people who had played an instrumental part, but they had to live like in the shadows, like outside the lines of law, dealing in like black market goods and stolen arts and all those illegal activities. So she takes them to where Dr. Nego was set up, in a place that looked like an abandoned dockyard. And while they were there, they are ambushed by a bunch of bounty hunters still trying to claim the bounty that was placed on their head. So, but Sharon does her best to keep the bounties at bay, while Sam, Bucky, and Zemo speak with the Dr. Nego. So the Dr. Nego actually tells them that he was actually contracted by the CIA to work on the super soldier serum. But due to what happened with the Thanos snap, he was snapped out of existence, and by the time he returned with the blip, the whole entire program had been scrapped. So he was forced to come to Madripoor and find a person called the Power Broker to be able to continue to carry out his experiments with the serum and everything. So, and it was while working on the serum that the Flag Smashers were able to like steal it from him and be able to get their hands on it. So basically all the serum that he created, like 20 vials or so, all of it was stolen by the Flag Smashers. So, but as soon as he gives them all this information, Zemo like spontaneously shoots him and pretty much like shocks everyone in the room that what was happening. But at that exact moment, one of the bounty hunters shots a rocket that engulfed the entire lab, but the four of them are able to escape unscathed, relatively unscathed, after fighting their way out. So I really like this scene because, like I said, there was a lot of like parallels that can be drawn between it and the John Wick, with the whole hand-to-hand fighting and everything. So it had like this visceral level of action. The entire like concept of Madripoor, like I said, with the criminal organizations, to find out how everything is, and having this mysterious figure called the Power Broker like pulling all the strings in the background. We don't know who this Power Broker is yet, so this is something that I'm going to like to see how everything plays out at the end of the day. And if you can remember, Carly, the leader of the Flag Smashers, had received a text message from somebody threatening to like kill her for stealing from him. So now we have a clearer picture and now know that Carly had stolen the vials of the super soldier serum, and that effectively that person was this Power Broker, who I imagine is going to be like the main bad guy for the show. But this is already episode 3, so I imagine we'll get to see him by the next episode or thereabouts. So going back to Sam, Bucky, and Zemo, before Dr. Nego had died, he had name dropped a woman named Donya, who they were now trying to track, but they eventually found out that the Donya was a woman that was already dead. Apparently this was somebody that was quite special to Carly, the leader of the Flag Smashers, because there was a scene earlier in the episode where we see her grieving beside the woman on her deathbed. But apparently the woman was already dead, and it appeared that the entire like lead was like they'd come to another dead end with that particular lead. But Zemo, being Zemo, tells them that he had another lead and he was willing to take them there. So in the final scene of the episode, while Zemo is taking both Sam and Bucky to the contacts he claimed they had, Bucky decides to break away from the team, and as we quickly find out, he had actually discovered that they were being tracked. And we find out that it was none other than one of the Dara Milaje from Black Panther that was doing the tracking. So the episode pretty much ends with that final scene, him and Ayo like talking with each other, and Ayo making it clear that he was there for Zemo. So that's another potential area of conflict. What is Ayo going to do? Does Ayo want to kill Zemo? Will Bucky be able to prevent her from doing it? So all this hopefully will be answered in the next episode. But like I said in my previous like recaps and reviews, I really like how the entire show is really getting to show us this side of the MCU that we don't really get to see. Like I said, I love seeing Madripoor, the entire nightlife of the city, and as well the fact that we are getting all these characters come back into the show, seeing all these like side characters that we've grown to know in the movies making an appearance and being pivotal to the story is something that I'm really enjoying so far. So like I said, I really enjoyed the episode and it is easily my best one yet. So, and as a result, if I was to give it a rating, I'll rate the episode an 8 out of 10. Basically, everything is shaping up nicely and all the pieces are falling into place for what is sure to be a very interesting second half of the show. So, but all that said, those are just my thoughts about the episode. What did you think about the episode? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you like this video if you enjoyed watching this review, and to subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on if you'd like to see more reviews like this in the future. And until the next one, this is Michael signing off.